Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of our guests today, including Ian Furness from KJR Sports Radio Seattle, standing by. Sponsored by Basant Motors. Basant Motors is celebrating its 31st anniversary this year, and to celebrate, they're continuing to give back to the community with their annual scholarship. This year, it's over $31,000. Learn more at basantmotors.com. It's been a long summer here in Vancouver, a long summer for us, mostly because we haven't caught up with Ian Furness for a long time. He joins us now from KJR Sports Radio in Seattle. Broncos, Seahawks tonight in Seattle. Ian, thanks for doing this. How are you? Anything going on in the city today?
Pretty quiet, guys. What do we want to talk about? Hey, welcome back from your 7-week hiatus or whatever it was there. Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations to Ryan on becoming a father. That's fantastic. Good for him. And I missed you guys. I'm a P1, as they say in the business. I like listening to the podcast in the afternoon. I love the first segment when, the non-insider is telling us that, Quinn Hughes might be on the right side as opposed to the left side, and then Donnie challenges him, and he says, I miss all that.
That was an excellent impersonation.
Well done.
Just bang on. We're going to talk about this later on in our poll question, Ian, but what kind of a reception will Russell Wilson get tonight? What kind of a reception should he get tonight?
It's the most asked question down here for the last month, probably, right? I mean, everyone's asking, and so nobody really knows the answer. I would assume the easy thing is to say it's going to be mixed, right? It'll be a mixed reaction. There'll be some that will cheer, some that will boo. For me personally, if I would consider myself, Donnie, a lot like you with the Canucks. You're born and raised somewhere. You're a lifelong fan. I grew up watching the Seahawks play in the AFC West. The Broncos were the big rival. Bronco Buster T-shirts. To me, two things. One, you're playing for the Denver Broncos. That's the evil empire, right? That'd be like playing a long time. That'd be like one of the Sedins playing for the Maple Leafs. You cannot fathom it. Number two, he wanted to leave. Remember that. I think that's a really important part. For him to leave, he had to want to leave. And so I there's a time and a place to honor him. When he goes into the Ring of Honor someday and all of that and is celebrated in Seattle when he's retired, that's the time. Tonight is not the day.
Where does he sit? I probably asked you this when he left, but where does he sit on the list of all-time great Seattle athletes?
Well, he's in the mix for sure. He's in the mix. I mean, I think it's still Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. still. We did during the middle of COVID and in the heart of the pandemic, we did a kind of a bracket, like you can only have a one bracket, and I believe Junior came out on top. Russ. Yeah, and it's interesting because Russell's always been a little bit of a polarizing figure for whatever reason. Initially when he's the quarterback and they go to this playoffs his rookie year, and really in that season 2012, they don't go there without him being great in a couple of games. The biggest key was at Chicago in an overtime game. He won the game not once but twice with what were game-winning drives. They win the Super Bowl in 2013. They get there back in 2014, and a lot of times it was the defense and Marshawn Lynch getting the lion's share of the credit there. And then, but Russ was very popular. People loved him. And, you have to win with a quarterback in this league. We saw that yesterday again. If you don't have a good quarterback, you're not going to win in the NFL. But Russell, over the last few years, became a diva quarterback. He changed. Instead of why not us, which was the mantra for so long here, it became kind of what about me? And the whole entourage, the pop star wife, the people following him around, taking the goofy videos, the social media. I think that turned a lot of people off. So, all time, he's top 10. But I think, his star has faded a little bit the last couple of years.
Ian, I heard a lot of national media rip the Seahawks over the summer, especially at training camp when the quarterback battle was going on. Geno Smith, not many installing confidence with him. Where do you see the Seahawks team? Some got them 3 wins, 4, 5, 6. Where do you see it?
Well, I don't think a Pete Carroll coach team in today's world is going to win just 3 or 4 or 5 games. I think they're probably closer to a 7 and 8 win team, probably when it's all said and done. Again, They don't have a quarterback, and there was no competition, Rick. There was never a competition.
Yeah,
it was Gino's job. It was Gino's job to lose. He never lost it. Pete tried to kind of pull the wool over our eyes. He said at the end of training camp, he said, well, they both had about 398 reps in practice in training camp. Well, that's fine, but not all reps are created the same. I mean, Gino's were all with the number ones. Drew Lock's, with the exception of one day, and that one day it turned out he had COVID in a pretty severe case of it. He was with the twos all camp. He never had a chance to win the job. Now, in Seattle's defense, we don't know. We don't see every single practice, and we didn't see all the OTAs. We didn't see the mini camps. They have a walkthrough every morning that's more like a light practice in the indoor facility that nobody sees. So, those coaches, they film every snap of every practice. So we didn't see it all. So maybe they saw some things there that said, you know what, Gino's just going to be the guy. It's not going to be Drew Lock.
Loving the game last night for the Mariners. I mean, they got people talking up here. They got people obviously talking in Seattle. How do you see the season for the Mariners ending?
We're living in confusing times, fellas. It's confusing times down here. Our soccer team's on the verge of not making the MLS playoffs for the first time ever.
Yep.
Sue Bird just retired. The football team doesn't have a quarterback and is facing a season in which a lot of people are criticizing Pete Carroll, saying, hey, they're not going to be very good. And our baseball team, which hasn't been to the postseason in 21 years, is basically all but in and ending that streak. They're up. They're up by 6 games right now. It would take a monumental collapse, and even they're not capable of that. They're not capable of it, honestly, with that pitching staff. The starting rotation is so good. That's the fun. Listen, you asked about where Russell stood on the food chain, so to speak, here in Seattle. I'll tell you, the guy that's near number one right now is Julio Rodriguez. Yeah, he is just an absolute superstar. He has this gregarious personality. He has the it factor, if you want to call it that. He is a gift that this franchise desperately needed, and really in some ways doesn't even deserve, because he has been everything you wanted and more. I don't know if you guys saw the home run derby. I mean, just the smile, infectious. To me, he's a nicer, more gregarious version of Ken Griffey Jr. Junior would kind of turn it on if he knew a camera was on him, but this guy just gets it. And on top of that, the work ethic is second to none. I mean, the guys in the clubhouse will tell you his preparation work is unreal, how he takes care of his body. I don't know if we deserve Julio, but maybe we do after 21 miserable years here.
Yeah.
We got a taste of Ken Griffey Jr.'s personality of a couple of preseason games up here, so I know what you're talking about. Okay, I know this rumor's been shot down, but there was a report about 4 or 5 days ago that the NBA is expanding, or plans to expand to Seattle and Vegas. What can you tell us about that? And if indeed it does happen, what would that mean for the Kraken?
Well, at the risk of being called an insider, but I will channel my inner Dolly Wall with the following. What I'm hearing is, Donnie, here's what I'm hearing.
That's good.
What we're hearing.
It was funny that that afternoon.
Yes.
I was with somebody that I would just say it really matters in the Kraken organization. It's up fairly high in the food chain. In fact, probably at the very top.
Ooh.
And we had a meeting scheduled talking about some things, and we talked about the NBA. Tim Lywicki, not Todd, but Tim, who runs Oakview Group, has talked about the NBA. It's going to come here. But when it comes here, it will have to be what you just said, right for the Kraken as well. I think we talked about this last year, fellas. They have to get the Kraken established. They have to get a fan base. It's not just the diehard hockey fans. They need to win. And they're probably another year or two away from winning consistently, especially the division, the conference they're playing in. They need to win. And the other key is this, and I at the risk, all joking aside, I do have a very good source in the Oakview Group that's not located in Seattle, and they're the people that do run the building. And the math and the timeline is very simple. There's I think it's a $3 billion project in Las Vegas that Oakview is undertaking. It's an arena, a hotel, and a casino, and it's just south of town. It's right by the private airport. Where the Las Vegas sign is, just south of that everyone always sees. When they break ground on that, and you get a timeline on when that building is built, that's when you know the NBA is coming, because that will be the NBA building. They're not going to play in T-Mobile Arena. There's a conflict with potential ownership of the NBA team and who runs the T-Mobile Arena there in Las Vegas. So they're going to play in that new building. LeBron James will have a stake in it. When they put a shovel in the ground, and they've already hired a president of the arena and a president CEO of the casino/hotel, and both of those guys come from big time backgrounds. One helped build T-Mobile Arena, the other one came from one of the big casinos in town. I think it was Mandalay Bay. So they're not messing around. When they put a shovel in the ground, then you know when the timeline is. I'm guessing we're about 3 to 4 years away. The NBA will come here, but we're still a few days away. The AP writer jumped the gun. He didn't have good sources. He was wrong. He deleted the tweet. So, but it is coming. I mean, that part of it, he's correct. It is coming. It's just a matter of time. But guys, look at the Kraken roster. They made some improvements, but I think just because, like I said, where they play, they're still a little ways away, man. We all thought Calgary's demise was coming, and apparently not. So that's no good, right?
Yeah.
Nice to have you back on our show, Ian. Hope the summer was outstanding, and we look forward to more hits.
Work on that Dollywell impression.
Donnie, what? Stop it, Donnie. I'm telling you right now. Donnie, this is what I'm told.
Perfect. Ian, thanks so much. Next week.
See you, boys.